Welcome to Cut the Sith Reading Club, episode 15. I am your host, Colin McSorley. Today we'll be discussing Dooku Jedi Lost by Cavan Scott, who's also, writing the High Republic comic book that comes out on Wednesday. Which this video comes out on Wednesday, so same day. Yay.
Whoa, look at that.
And that's because we're also reading the High Republic Light of the Jedi book in 2 weeks. Because I'm very excited for that, and I don't remember actually much about Dooku Jedi Lost, so Alex, take over.
Oh, well, all
Introduce
right.
everyone.
Okay. I'm Alex. Hello. Steven.
Yep, that's me. I'm Steven. Hello.
Our dearest Ryan.
That would be me.
Yes, it is.
I think it is. Last time I checked, it was.
Well, right off the rip, did either of you guys listen to the audiobook?
I listened
did.
to a little bit of the audiobook just because I had Audible Plus credits, so I just listened to some Audible version of it. I got to be honest, I didn't get through the whole thing, but I'd read the story a long while back, so I remember most of it. It was hard because Dooku doesn't sound like Dooku in this audiobook, and it's very jarring. He sounds like some, birthday party Jafar, or he doesn't sound like Count Dooku.
Exactly. I mean, I get that the Christopher Lee's voice is really hard to emulate, but I mean, they couldn't get the Clone Wars guy.
I'm surprised they couldn't get the Clone Wars guy.
It was it's pretty jarring.
I mean, when
Honestly.
they did I was telling Ryan this earlier, when they did that Clone Wars audiobook where they just had all those different episodes where they basically summarized into different audio dramas, they
From a
got
certain point of view, yeah.
they got everyone from Clone Wars to do that. So it was they had Sam Witwer voicing Maul in that story. They brought all the voice actors back for that one, so I'm just you couldn't bring Dooku's voice actor in for this one?
Especially given that it was the first project of this nature that they were gunning for in the Disney era too. They hadn't. This was before Afra. I want to say it's only this and Afra were the only two audio drama Star Wars books from the Disney era at this point.
Yeah, because it was this one, then Afra, and then the Clone Wars one.
Mm-hmm. They had the Certain Point of View books read by a wide cast of actors. John Hamm, Boba Fett, represent.
It was horrible. I love John Hamm, but he was horrible as Boba Fett. Actually, it wasn't even him that was bad. The Boba Fett story was bad.
I feel like it was not written in Boba's voice. I like Paul Dini a lot. He's a great Batman writer. I don't know if he's a great Boba Fett writer. I'm getting us on a tangent here, so I apologize. But
it's part of our MO over here. Cut the Sith.
We gotta break down everything about this book, including all the tangents it leads to.
So yeah, to answer your question, yes, I did listen to the audiobook, but I did not find it engaging. The first time I actually read through this piece was when the audiobook got printed into an actual physical hardcover book. And I picked it up because I was like, oh, okay, maybe they actually wrote out the prose and everything. No, it's a full script. It's the script with the cast of characters in the front of the book. And, it's just all laid out like the scripts to the audio drama, which I thought was really neat. It felt like I was reading a screenplay.
I think they did that for Afra's too, and I'm not sure if Afra's has come out yet, if it's coming out soon.
I don't believe it has a physical release yet. No, I don't believe yet.
But I borrowed mine because I did the audio version. I borrowed it via Libby, so support your local libraries.
That's a good idea. Support your local libraries, folks.
Down with Jeff Bezos.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, now that we've passed what we think about that, I don't disagree with you guys about Dooku. I like that he was still trying to sound aristocratic, but it's not Christopher Lee and it's not the guy from the Clone Wars.
Real Averross's voice is worse than Dooku's.
I'm just happy that Rail showed up.
I didn't get to the part with Rail, but how did you describe his voice to me, Colin?
What was it? A cowboy western version of Eeyore?
That does not line up with what I had in my head.
That's close. I said it was a bad John Wayne impression.
Close.
I said Bad John Wayne impersonator.
I told Colin that I was picturing like a Dutch Vanderland from Red Dead Redemption type of voice when I was
I
like
wish.
imagining Rail Avaros in my head when we were reading Master and Apprentice.
I wish.
Mhm.
Yeah. All of us do. All of us really, really
He
do.
starts talking, and it's like, and I don't know if because so when I'm doing these audiobooks, I probably retain maybe like 50% of what happens because I do them while I'm listening to them while I'm working, so I'm not giving them my full attention, which I probably should be because I know we're going to be talking about them.
Yes, because we're talking about the plot and all that
It's
stuff.
fine.
But go on.
But as I'm listening to it, I don't know if I missed when they introduced him or if they didn't introduce him until after he started talking. But he's talking for a bit, and I'm like, who the fuck is this talking? And then because I'm like, it's not Qui-Gon because at one point I think he refers to Dooku as Master. I go, that's not fucking Qui-Gon. Please don't tell me this is real, Avros. Please don't tell me this is real. And then at one point I think it's like Qui-Gon refers to him as real, and I'm like, no, you ruined him. You massacred my boy.
Yeah, a little
All
bit.
that was missing was the spur sound effects whenever he walked.
Mhm.
You ain't even gonna say howdy.
I was so upset.
Go ahead, ask, because are you about to ask about Qui-Gon's voice?
Qui-Gon's voice did just sound like someone trying to
Yeah,
do
really
Liam
hard.
Neeson. It was someone like literally trying to impersonate Liam Neeson.
I mean, I can appreciate that. At least you're trying to sound like the source.
Mhm.
Which I don't know. I feel like that's a tough area for when actors get brought in to portray characters that have already been portrayed. Like let's use Ewan McGregor for instance. Like he got brought in to play Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was brought to life by Alec Guinness. At what point do you make the character your own, and like how faithful should you be to the original portrayal to the point that you're not like just doing an Alec Guinness impersonation for the whole movie? I guess like that's a tough balancing act. So I appreciate that, you know, if you're going to sound like Liam Neeson, it's not like, did they bring anything new to the role in terms of nuance, or was it just like a Liam Neeson
It
impersonation?
literally was just a Liam Neeson impersonation.
That's a shame.
Yeah. I try to give the most credit, but any nuance to the character was literally just because of how it was written. It wasn't anything like they were trying to do themselves.
Actually, hold it. Was Asajj's voice actor the one from Clone Wars?
I'm not sure, but I was gonna say that the two absolute best ones. I think Asajj was the number one who sounded as close as you
I'm gonna look this
possibly
up right
could.
now.
Yeah, Ventress sounded very close to what she sounds like in the show.
And my favorite one was Senevax, because listening to that old monster on Audible, let me tell you, just the way they did the voice, I was just like, get out of here, you guys! You guys are fucking crazy.
Why is my phone freezing up?
It was just this great mix of like someone trying to be scary and some hardcore digitization going on with the voice. And I was like, guys, could have just gotten like a growling sound, would have been all right. We didn't have to go to this extent, but it was good. I'm not gonna lie.
So it was a different voice actor for Asajj, but she sounded pretty similar.
She sounded very similar. Yeah, no, it was like I wouldn't have known that they were different.
Yeah,
if you
because
had
like
told me.
you noticed right away that fucking Dooku's different. I thought Asajj was the same person up until literally just now.
Yeah, like when he started talking, I was like, that doesn't sound like Count Dooku.
Like, what are you doing?
And like, not to sound petulant or like beat this point into the ground or anything like that, but like when you're doing a project of this caliber and you're bringing in like a full cast to read through this whole thing and do like an audio drama, like I can get Dooku sounding different maybe when he's younger, like when he's a kid,
I was gonna say the same thing.
or you know, maybe even a young adult like under 30 or something like that. But 40 to 50 and onwards to like you're getting up into some Christopher Lee territory, and the man is one of a kind, but that he didn't sound like Christopher Lee really took me out of the narrative.
Yeah, because to go off what you were saying, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, for the flashbacks when he's a kid and he's the Padawan, it makes sense for him to sound younger like that. But why were they using the same voice for like 10-year-old Dooku as they were for the dude that was like 90 years old? Because when he's Ventress's master takes place after Attack of the Clones. It takes place during the Clone Wars. So it's literally it is Christopher Lee's voice. He
Mhm.
was like in his 80s at that point.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
had to have been.
why does he sound the exact same as he did when he was 10? Why are the voices for the young version and the adult version? I get that they get away with it because it's an audiobook, but you would never do that in like an animated TV show. You would not use the same voice if you were watching an animated show for like the kid version and the elderly version, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So it's like it was strange that they decided to go with the same voice for both.
True. I don't disagree.
Did Mark Thompson do the voice for Yoda?
Yes, he did.
Mhm.
I had a feeling. I was just like, I recognize that man. He does a pretty, like his voice impersonations
My
are
ears
just
perk up
so
when I hear him,
good. Yeah.
especially when he does with like young girls, because I'm just like, this is strange.
when I started the Light of the Jedi audiobook today, it was just like narrated by Mark Thompson. I was just like, yes, thank God. Okay.
You knew you were in for a good one.
Yes. No, he's a real one. He's a good narrator. What was everyone's favorite part of Dooku Jedi Lost? Did you have a favorite part or a favorite character that maybe wasn't portrayed in the source material? What I'm driving at, okay.
My
Let me
favorite's
rephrase
the
this
end,
question.
and you didn't finish it.
Hmm?
But you read it before, though. You said, right?
I did read it before. Yeah, I've read the whole story before.
Because my favorite part's literally at the end of the book,
where they
where Asajj Ventress kills Dooku's sister.
yeah, and then Dooku's
Yeah.
just like, okay, good.
Forgets it.
There you go.
I'm just like, oh shit.
Just walks out like a G, and he's essentially just like, "Hey, listen, Asajj, clean that up."
My actual, and I have a second favorite part because I had like two parts that were like tied, and they're both near the end of it.
Mhm.
And it's when he decides that he's leaving the Jedi Order. He's gonna be Count Dooku, Count of Sereno, and he tells Yoda like, "Take my lightsaber; it's the weapon of a Jedi." And Yoda's like, "No, keep it. Like, there's more to being a Jedi than just being like on like the Jedi Council."
And these guys wonder why they lost so bad.
I'm so happy you brought that up.
They certainly don't make any friends. They chose to side with the Senate when they asked for help, all because they didn't pay their bills.
And actually, I had a third favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking when Dooku's like going off against that like droid army, because you can see it's percolating in his mind how awesome it's gonna be to have a droid army. You can see
Yes.
this. He's like formulating his droid army. He's leaving the Jedi Order. Yoda's like, "Here, just keep your fucking death stick laser sword. It's fine." And then it's just, yeah. So it's like, Yoda is the worst Jedi of all time.
He really is.
Was it?
He's just very irresponsible, and like
He's an
I
arrogant fuck.
he's so complacent with the order of things and status quo that like he is incapable of seeing things big picture.
Early on, it was I forget what her name was. Was it Sifo Dyas's master, Castanis?
Castana.
Was she the one that wanted to like train Sifo Dyas and Dooku about the dark side, about the Sith, so they could be prepared? And Yoda's like, "Why? The Sith haven't existed for 1,000 years. They'll never have to face them. This is stupid. You don't need to train them in it." And it's like, Yoda,
Dude,
Yoda.
It's just pure
my guy.
arrogance.
Yeah.
And then like Castana throughout the whole thing is fucking ostracized. Like she's some giant hate monger, and then up until this,
I remembered a lot more than I thought I did.
Good job, Colin.
getting mad.
I'm very impressed.
But as a side note, one of my absolute favorite things about this is the whole Sifo Dyas descent into madness, because it's like up until this, it's like we've only really know it's like, okay, he was on the Jedi Council, but I mean not the Council, he was part of the Jedi Order, and for some reason, one or the other, he created the clone army. And that was it. But I like how they essentially showed that it's like Dooku knew that if things ever turned out bad and he kind of needed a scapegoat, i.e., let's make a clone army under some other Jedi's name, it would make sense to use Sifo Dyas now, because listen, he probably could have been a great Jedi.
What was happening with Sifo Dyas? Was it like visions of the future or something?
Yeah.
He was having a lot of insane.
He was having like the
visions of future.
Anakin visions where he was just getting fucked in his head.
But it was even worse. It's like I love in one of the last was it the last act? One of the last acts, yeah, where it's like Sifo Dyas is in the middle of helping everybody, and then all of a sudden his knees buckle, and he's like, "Oh God, all I can hear is Dooku, Dooku." And my listening to it on audio, I was like, yes, just chant Dooku every 15 minutes when you show up.
That'd be awesome.
Nice.
Ryan, what about you?
You actually picked both of my favorite parts. I'm more into how he, how he made it, the decisions he made.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, he was right about how the Jedi turn their backs on a planet because they agree with the Senate. They if they don't pay their bills, why should we bother to protect them?
Yeah, that was fucked up.
And we can't keep spreading our resources thin because the Force doesn't pay for tanks and robots and droids and training.
What happened to being keepers of the peace and not soldiers, right?
That's like one.
Hey, Yoda, why do you need all of this fucking weaponry if you're not prepared to fight the Sith?
Gotta do anything about it.
It's like, oh, the Sith aren't a thing. They're not a threat, but yet I need this fucking army.
But it's military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
We do need.
Yeah, I need to fucking rule the galaxy with an iron fist. Yoda's the worst Jedi of all time.
Yeah, he has to be up
They
there.
blew a 10,000-2 lead under his command.
I mean, yeah, that's not a lie.
It's fucked up because like when you see him in like Empire Strikes Back, it's like this is Yoda, the greatest of us all. And every story since then that's dealt with like diving into his character and like the history of the Jedi has just made him look like a shittier character.
He's just a bad
single
leader.
time.
He's a bad leader. Like he's just at this point coasting. He's coasting on a lot of stuff, and he's just like, I have tenure because I've been alive for like 800 years, so no one can really contest me. Or
I kind of wish the High
against
Republic
me.
went further back because the High Republic, it's only like 200 years ago.
I'm excited to see like edgy 300-year-old Yoda being a huge asshole to everybody.
He's gonna be in the IDW Adventures comic.
Nice.
It's gonna be him training a bunch of Padawans.
I did like our little callback to Pijal and our dearest dead Nimue.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. I like that they added that little piece in, and I was like, oh, I know exactly what they're talking about because we saw that whole event go down.
I would say my favorite part of the book was the story, I guess, was when they had their like kind of forced trance seance type deal, and then Dooku wakes up and like everybody is charred, like lightning everywhere. And like that was just really good. I like pretty much any scene where force lightning is involved, I'm really into. Like the part 2 where this didn't just happen in Master and Apprentice, right? Like this happened in this book too, where Dooku and Qui-Gon were like interrogating somebody or whatever, and Dooku just starts zapping them. And Qui-Gon's just like, yo, what the fuck?
Dooku would have killed him if Qui-Gon wasn't like, stop, Master.
Yeah.
And then Dooku stops. He's like, fine.
If I must.
I was going to say, let's be real.
Was that when he was looking for his sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let's be real. With how smart Dooku is, on the small little walk over while Qui-Gon was calling for him, he was like, shit, I really need to think of something. I really need to think of something here. And he was like, oh, you played your part wonderfully, Qui-Gon. Didn't you know we play bad cop all the time? Excuse me, good cop, bad cop. I did love the little, like, quirks that we got to see out of Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was a very fun ride seeing how he actually went from, Padawan learner, finding out that his dad was more or less like, he essentially called the Jedi and was like, listen, I left the baby outside the wall. If you want it, come and get it. If not,
just take it.
Yeah, whatever. Leading all the way to him being the Count of Sereno and Count Dooku, Slayer of Dragons.
Also, I like how the Jedi just get to just pick and choose who gets to like see their family or not.
Mhm.
Fucking Anakin, we can't go free his slave mom. We can't let this man who clearly has PTSD from being a slave and is worried about his mom who's still a slave. We can't free her. We can't do anything for him
Nope.
with his
Nope.
family. But Dooku can go to fucking Sereno to see his dad, his brother, his sister, whatever the hell he wants.
I mean, it must be nice having Yoda as your master because then you get all sorts of privileges. I also did really like the training montages, like when Dooku was trying to push himself really, really hard to learn under Yoda, and Yoda was just like not giving him the time of day.
Mhm.
It felt very like Miyagi-ish almost, like just him trying so hard to be noticed and to be validated, and for eventually it all just to click and to realize, okay, like I'm going about this wrong, like let's work together and dive in on this together. Like I really enjoyed seeing that dynamic, and Dooku getting all upset when Sifo-Dyas's master chooses Sifo-Dyas. He's like, oh darn, okay. And then Yoda's just like, all right, I pick you, and Dooku's like, oh shit, okay.
And then Dooku has the nerve to be a little dickhead. Who's the other kid he didn't like? He was like, he has to wait another year. It's like, Dooku,
Oh,
you were the last one chosen.
was
Yoda basically picked you out of pity. He's like, fine, no one
Hey,
wants Dooku, he's mine.
Pass fail is pass fail. It doesn't matter what score you get, so long as you pass, you pass.
He's
I
like,
did like I did like that they added in that extra little aspect that especially some of the Jedi, even at that point where they were still relatively young and Qui-Gon was still an apprentice, where there's clearly Jedi out there with some severe gambling addictions
mhm.
who are getting in the way of Senevex, my queen, all the goddamn time. But I did really like that more humanizing aspect of the Jedi. It's like, even those smaller side characters that are Jedi, it's like they're like, I'd be curious. I'd want to see. It's like, how did
I
Homie
gotta,
get into
I
gambling?
gotta ask a question. And this will prove that I really wasn't. I didn't give it a full 100% attention.
Okay.
Asajj's master, her former Jedi master Kai, was he actually there as a Force ghost, or was she just like imagining him in her mind?
I thought that she was imagining him in
Okay.
her mind
That's what I
because,
thought too.
to my knowledge, I don't know that any Jedi had the ability to manifest as a Force ghost until Qui-Gon.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They didn't. And
Mhm.
Qui-Gon never finished it before he died, so it wasn't really until like he showed Obi-Wan that someone actually fully learned how to do it.
Exactly.
So yeah. So she was just fucking having. And then when she kills Dooku's sister, he's just gone from her mind, wiped from her conscience. She was like, "Doo, doo, doo."
I did like that little aspect of Kai though, and just the fact that I like when she goes further toward the very end, when she goes further into it, and Dooku's like, "Really? You thought this was just the Force leading you to all these things?" You're essentially like, I don't think I know that asshole. You hear him in your head. I love that little part with her inside her own head, essentially trying to validate all of these outward feelings. Because it kind of made me feel for Asajj. I'll be real.
She's one of my top 10 favorite characters.
She's a
so
great
cool.
character. Yeah, no, I love Ventress a lot. She's a great
Dark
character.
Disciple is my favorite book from the new canon, and we haven't read it yet.
I got the Ventress lightsaber from Galaxy's Edge.
The
That was
Black
more-
Series one is on sale right now for like $150.
That was more for Barriss than for Ventress, but Ventress is still high up there too. So
Her sucks.
you suck.
That I do. That I do.
I will also say too, it was interesting to see how much depth they gave Sifo-Dyas in the story, because like he's just a mystery character. I want to say originally, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I'm pretty sure that originally Sifo-Dyas was supposed to be an alias of Sidious, and it was supposed to be like Cedo-Dyas or something like that in the original Attack the Clone script. But then Lucas was like, that's too confusing. Why don't we just make Sifo-Dyas his own person? Which wound up making things actually way more confusing. So it was nice to actually see Sifo-Dyas be given like a background, a backstory, to have like, Do and Sai, like two young Jedi friends, and to gradually see Sifo-Dyas like go nuts over the course of the story was very sad and interesting to behold.
I mean, the Jedi, their entire downfall could have been prevented if they invested in like a fucking therapist.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they don't have like Jedi counselors or something.
The Jedi Council.
Yeah, not that kind of council. There's council and then there's council, but
It's
I
like
don't know.
they're all a little fucked up in their head, and I don't blame them. They were all just like taken away from their families as like infants, and then told that they weren't allowed to have emotions.
And then they're just reinforced like just push it down, push it down, push it way, 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 way down. Don't feel sad about anything. Don't feel remorse or grief when people die. Just push that shit down and keep moving.
It's like
It's mad unhealthy. It's
yeah,
not
of course
great.
it is. And it's like if you look at their numbers alone, like okay, let's say like there's only 10,000 at one point. Well, 10% of that 10,000 are individuals that will eventually fucking snap,
Mhm.
Yep.
and they're Force users. I don't know. I think we should work on lowering those numbers because
Frankly-
it seems like there's always somebody in the Star Wars universe, especially in the Jedi Order, that just fucking loses their mind.
So I don't know if this is still true in Disney canon. Maybe they did say this towards the end of the book, and I must have forgotten it. But in the original Attack of the Clones, like when Obi-Wan's looking at the busts of Count Dooku in the Jedi archive in the library and whatnot, they're busts of the Lost 20. Interesting lore fact. Basically, like over the course of, all the Jedi Order's history or whatever, only 20 left the Order that they felt the need to make busts for and whatnot. So that was like a big plot point in like some of the Attack of the Clones like expanded material. Were there only 20 that would have left the Order in Disney canon, or no?
In
I feel
Disney
like
canon, it just seems like it's more now because it seems like every story we're finding out about someone new.
who left the Order? Yeah, like to your point, Alex, I feel like there are a lot of people who just snap and leave the Order, and it is an interesting like contrast
Ahsoka 21.
between that Rail Avaros, I guess technically would count too, right?
He fucking
but-
disappeared. He's only in this and Master and Apprentice.
He's a ghost, dude. Yeah, he's just out of there. But like comparing that to like the original series where they tried to make it seem like, oh, this is such a great Order, but only 20 people felt the need to leave, and now it's just like a lot more people are getting disillusioned with the Jedi way. Interesting to see.
Yeah, you're 1,000% right, and I love that with this they actually, not for nothing. At the end of the day, it's like I have a real hard time blaming Dooku for just about any of his actions. It's like this man is clearly somebody that needed to be in rageaholics.
I don't blame any of these Jedi for anything that do. I blame I blame Yoda for everyone.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, if you're gonna point the finger at one of them at the end of the day, yeah, it's Yoda.
he's a war criminal. Yeah, he's terrible.
He's just beyond fucking arrogant. It's just like everything he's doing. It's like clearly in Castano, there's a Jedi that is feeling something in the Force that is driving her day and night to find Sith artifacts to understand everything she can possibly about the dark side. You think ostracizing somebody like that is a smart idea? It's like Castano was extremely strong and never really fell to the dark side or anything like that. And then she developed that extreme kinship with Sifo Dyas where she felt like, I need to take care of him his whole life. But it's just like, you probably should have let her just teach Sith 101 and called it a day.
Yeah,
Defense against the dark arts, baby.
Exactly.
High five, Steve. Steve, high five. Bam.
I did. Bam.
That'd be a great class.
But it's just like, it's fucking maddening. And then everyone's like, oh, Dooku, I hope you didn't go to Sereno. And it's like, of course he went to fucking Sereno. Where else did you think he went?
Didn't they not also want him to go to his mother's funeral?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he didn't want to go to, or they didn't want him.
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't want him to go.
Yes.
And it's
They're
like, well, listen.
dickheads.
They're sociopaths.
No wonder I got wiped out. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. In Legends, did Luke get rid of that rule? Because he has like Mara Jade, he has a family and everything. So does he like get rid of the rule where you can't like have fucking emotions?
I didn't really read that deep into the expanded universe, so I don't know for sure. Like,
I'm gonna assume he did. 'cause
I'm
he had a
going to
wife and
imagine he
kids.
did, or maybe he just read the rules very liberally. So I don't know. But
Probably like, you know what?
he probably was like, it's
Fucking
time for a
idiot.
new Jedi way.
My dad went insane because he couldn't see his mom or like have a like be out and about with his wife. So you know what? I'm here, guys.
Yeah. It's just like the Jedi, they sit there, and even throughout this whole novel, it's like, no, love everybody, love the common person, and put your own life at risk for theirs. But God forbid your sister comes knocking, begging for help, because there's clearly thousands of raiders taking over your planet.
Hey.
But no.
Hey, they didn't pay their bills. They don't get the protection.
It's like no, I lost my train of thought. Like, it's like a racket. They didn't pay their protection money.
Mm-hmm.
Total racket.
Duke was just like, what? So we just can't like help him? It's like, no.
Exactly.
No, they didn't pay their fair share.
You don't think we're a charity or anything, do you, Dooku? Like, it's not like we're an order of guardians to bring peace and justice to the galaxy.
We bring peace and justice to those that pay for our peace and justice.
To the highest bidder, which more often than not is the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Bunch of corporate-owned shills. It's terrible.
But speaking of the Senate, I did love that the Senate showed up, and I love that Rail is the one that introduces him to Palpatine, and then Palpatine makes it a point that Rail is banging out the Queen of Naboo. I'm talking about it just came back, and I was like, I had to bring that up because it's too good not to. Come on, Rail. The guy's a savage. I don't care what his voice sounds like. Rail's still a savage.
Anakin would have been so much better under real Avaros. They would have had so much.
He would have learned from the dude. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be like, listen, if you want to bang your wife, bang your wife. Don't let these fucking old fucks tell you what to do. And Anakin was like, all right, that's fine. Unlike fucking Obi-Wan, who wouldn't even like give his girlfriend a handshake.
Honestly. And
That's
not
like
even at the end.
I mean,
I
let's
really
not
wish
forget.
Corky was Anakin. It was Obi-Wan's kid.
I mean, her nephew looks a lot like Obi-Wan. I'm just saying, her nephew
Her son
looks a lot like Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How are you? His parents are never mentioned or shown, but he's the nephew of both Satine and Bo-Katan, and he looks just like Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm. He looks more like Obi-Wan than he looks like Bo-Katan.
Corky Kenobi. And
Corky Kenobi.
It has that Peter Parker, Bruce Banner alliteration thing going on there.
That's awful.
Corky Kenobi. Yep.
He's gonna show up.
I hope he shows up in Kenobi. No, he's gonna show up in Kenobi. He's gonna show up in Kenobi and be like, "Look, I got something to confess. I know that you probably think that I'm Satine's nephew. I'm your son. I'm her son.
He's gonna die. He's gonna be the
Anakin's gonna kill him.
He's gonna be the reason Obi-Wan survives the rematch against Darth Vader.
Yep.
Corky's gonna jump in the way. Like, Daddy!
Oh that's awful.
He's gonna have to save him from the red chiss when he shows up.
And Obi-Wan just like, I didn't claim that one and leave.
Dad, what are you talking about? I've never seen this kid in my life.
I may be your father, but I ain't your daddy. And he's gonna leave.
Oh man, cold-blooded.
Just kicks him off a Tatooine. Listen, I have another son now.
I assume at the end of that rematch that Vader's gonna assume he like killed Obi-Wan.
I believe it. Yeah.
It has to go down that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Oh fuck, you're still alive." As you remember that classic line from A New Hope.
Yeah, James Earl Jones did a really solid job with the delivery on that one.
Yep. Fuck, you're still alive? I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite part of that movie.
It's a great part. It's really jarring when it happens, but like it grows on you after a while.
I think Dooku killing a dragon was a little jarring. I didn't see that coming. I liked it. Don't get me wrong, and I like that they don't call it beast control anymore, animal kinship. But
Is
it's interesting.
controlling beasts with your mind like a dark side power?
that's kind of the way they used to up until this. Like that's really the way I'd seen them talked
Because
about.
fucking Ezra does it all the time in Rebels, and like he's gonna come back.
Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon did it too, though. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon did it in Master and Apprentice.
Oh yeah, they did it with those
And,
friggin' bird raptor things.
In Knights of the Old Republic, it's classified as a light side power.
Oh.
Because it's about kinship with nature, right?
Oh yeah, it's
Right.
like that Avatar
Yes,
shit.
it is.
Mhm.
I'm
But
surprised. Wait till James
like
Cameron
that
directs a
did.
Star Wars movie and they just start fucking like tying their like hair with the animals.
Don't give Kathleen Kennedy ideas, please.
Too busy. Like before COVID, their legit map was Star Wars movie, Avatar movie, Star Wars movie, Avatar movie. They alternated every year.
I hate that. I hate it so bad.
Wait, you mean they're actually going to start releasing the Avatar movies?
Before COVID, they had a legit release plan where it was like legitimately untitled Star Wars movie, Avatar 2, untitled Star Wars movie, Avatar 3, every year in the same week in December.
And just for the record, these Avatar movies have been done for like years, right?
Well, I think he had to wait for the technology to get better. That's like
No,
the
brother.
use, I believe.
No, he's pulling a George. Coward.
You know what the worst thing about the Avatar film was? How for legitimately 10 years after that, every movie was in terrible 3D.
Yeah.
Hmm?
It was an unfortunate trendsetter.
I feel like 3D went away like right after Infinity War, I want to say. Because that was a thing that was every movie. Now, like, people are like, I don't fucking want to pay for 3D.
Let me level with you. I was never a fan of 3D.
I fucking hated 3D.
It's a gimmick. No, it's a gimmick that's designed to raise up ticket prices, and it really adds nothing of value to the movie.
I just get so fucking annoyed if I wanted to see a movie and it was only in 3D, and I was like, fuck, I guess I have to.
No, I
But
wouldn't.
worse yet, if it's an IMAX 3D,
Ugh.
like cool,
like
time for a
25
headache
bucks.
for the rest of the night, I guess, and like a hole burning in my wallet. Sure.
The IMAX 3D glasses, the ones at the Jordans and Reddit, they had like those little fucking security locks on them. So if you like walked outside the door, the fuck things went pew, 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 like a goddamn fire detector.
Oh no.
But anyways, back to Dooku. How did everyone enjoy it?
Didn't we already answer this?
Yeah, we answered that at the beginning.
Like, are you saying like on a scale out of 1 to 10?
Did you
1,
like it? Did you like it?
I enjoyed it. There were some elements I wish had been different, but I appreciate that it was ambitious to try a different format compared to the other Star Wars books in like the Disney canon expanded universe. It tried something different. I appreciate that it was gutsy. I feel like it had to walk so that Dr. Aphra could run. I liked it. So
Ryan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I liked it pretty much for the fact that we get to learn what leads up to Dooku leaving, why he turned out the way he did, which was the Jedi are terrible.
He's
And-
completely justified.
I mean, when they say we can't help because the Senate said, yeah, they didn't pay their bills. I mean, that's pretty telling.
Not a lie. Well, honestly, at the end of all of this, it's like I loved the aspect of Dooku, but I loved finally really feeling for Ventress, and especially I made sure I like that she kind of carried out the end of the story and everything. I loved the final lines of it. But where else can I go? This is where I belong. This is who I am. I am free, and you just don't believe her. I'm sorry, you don't believe her in any way, shape, or form, and I just
Well-
loved how much they humanized her.
As someone who watched Clone Wars and read Dark Disciple, you shouldn't believe her. I do like that one part where she's just like fast forwarding through like the fucking Dooku shit. There's like, this is boring. Find something
he's
interesting.
like, all right.
It's something
I
good.
fucking love Ventress.
Mm-hmm.
We should read Dark Disciple eventually.
We should. It's a good
Hey,
book.
down.
It was a solid Clone Wars story. I liked it a lot.
And we got Colin's favorite, good old
His,
Quinlan.
his OTP in that story too.
Yeah, it's Quinlan Voss and Asajj Ventress and Hera and Kanan are the two perfect couples. I can't pick one over the other.
I won't disagree with that.
And Dark Disciple is definitely my favorite Star Wars book. I haven't read enough of the EU, but it's definitely my favorite of the canon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Colin, what's coming next?
Yeah,
I'll
do tell.
tell you what's coming next.
What's coming
My
next,
dick.
brother? Oh, what kind of dick?
I just watched the history of swear words on Netflix, and yes, one of the episodes is dedicated to the word dick.
Oh, I should watch that show at some point. I need a good documentary.
So, in 2 weeks, on July 19th, we're going to record on July 19th. It's going on to YouTube. 6 a.m. July 20th.
It's January, Colin.
January. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve, for being the only one that corrected me, because I would have just...
I was going to let you go.
I was about to say, we're not going to meet for another 7 months? What? You won't need that long to read it.
Sure.
We need a vacay, guys.
And I need to make sure I get this one correct, because I definitely said January 5th last time, and Ryan tried to text me yesterday saying he thought it was next week.
For shame.
Well, let's be fair. I just had a 12-day vacation, so I wasn't really in the right frame of mind for doing things.
And what is time at this point anyway? It's just...
Speaking of time, in 2 weeks' time, January 19th, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be meeting. The recording, however, won't go onto YouTube till Wednesday, January 20th, 6 a.m. What are we meeting about, everybody? Well, glad you asked, Colin. The first book in the High Republic.
Yes.
Written by Charles Soule.
Yes.
Light of the Jedi. Part 1. The Great Disaster.
Excited.
I'm hyped, everybody. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. See, brand new era of Star Wars, previously unexplored, now explored for the first time by our intrepid group.
And especially that Charles.
I just love the way that man writes Star Wars.
He's a phenomenal writer. Yeah.
I love his Vader run. I love his current Star Wars run that issue 10 comes out tomorrow. Well, today, because this video is going up tomorrow. So, and the first issue of the High Republic comic comes out too, and I'm grabbing that. And you can check out my comic book reviews, because I'm going to be reviewing that just myself. I'm going to read the High Republic issue 1, talk about it, throw it up on the YouTube.
I'm subscribing to Colin's hot takes right now.
I'll tell you this right now. I will tell you specifically, not in this video because I don't have them off the top of my head, but if you ask me personally, just DM me, text me, talking to all 3 viewers out there, I will tell you which comic reviews to watch and which ones not, because let me tell you, half of them are fucking terrible, but half of them are gold. Like there are ones where I just give no shits, and I'm basically just giving a monotone, boring plot summary of what happened in the issue, because I just want to get through it and get on with the night. Then there are other ones where I'm talking about the rebel scum terrorist organization led by Leia Organa and how she murdered millions of people upon the Death Star, including the Honorable Grand Moff Tarkin, and how Commander Zara is right to want to thrust her blade into Leia's throat to avenge the death of Grand Moff Tarkin and all those aboard the Death Star. So you got like those 2.
Nice.
Issue 7, I believe, is issue 3, issue 7, issue 8 off the top of my head. Those are good ones. The rest of them probably suck. But
you should still watch them, though.
I'll watch them.
Later today, because this is going up at 6 a.m. Wednesday, later tonight, Star Wars issue 10 review, High Republic number 1 review, all done by me. Follow the Twitter at twitter.com/cutthesith, the Instagram at instagram.com/cutthesith. I don't know where I'm pointing at. Join the Discord. All this shit's in the description. 2 weeks from today, Light of the Jedi, Part 1, Great Disaster, Charles Soule, Alex, Steve, Colin, Ryan, maybe Yona, not Sierra because she's busy at the moment. Let's fucking go.